Hey guys, thanks for being here. Today we have Rebekah Maxwell from the Better Business Bureau. She's going to talk to you guys about ethics. So let's give her a round of applause and thank you for being here.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
That was weak, guys. Come on. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
That was a little bit better. Okay. How are we doing today? Good? Okay. Who has already had their last class for the day and you're just waiting to get out? Quite a few of you. Ah, darn it. I knew it. Okay. Well, we'll try to make this as painless as possible. I know y'all are doing this as part of a class, so hopefully you enjoy it. One thing that's going to be a little bit interesting is this is actually going to take some participation on your part, which I know you're so excited about. It'll actually be fun. We're going to look at a couple of different things, talking about ethics, talking about personal ethics, and also ethics when it deals with business situations. So hopefully we'll have some chances to share some ideas, what you think about ethics. I'll have a couple of stories to tell, and we'll also watch a couple of videos that deal with ethical dilemmas, ethical situations, and we'll work through it together and discuss what you think about that, how you handle ethics. As you said, my name is Rebekah Maxwell. I work at Better Business Bureau here in Southeast Texas. Our office is in downtown Beaumont, but we cover 8.5 counties. So we cover all of Southeast Texas. And my job is to go out and talk about ethics to pretty much anybody in that area who wants to hear about it. We work with middle schools and high schools a lot of the time, but we also go into businesses. So what you're going to be going through today is similar to what we do in a business. If a business has a group of employees they want a training for, sometimes it's kind of as continuing education. So we'll go out and talk about ethics to their employees. So one of these days, if you're working with a business who has us come back, you'll have a head start on everybody else, hopefully. So that'll be it. So to get us started off today, I want to hear from you what you think about ethics. When you think of the definition, even just a word or two you associate with ethics, what comes to mind? Morals. Okay, very good. What else? Integrity. That's great.
Doing the right thing.
Doing the right thing. That's a very good, just simple definition for ethics, because, and I'm sure you kind of thought of it whenever you saw the name for this workshop, ethics. You go in so many different directions with that. There are thousands upon thousands of different definitions, different views on ethics. It can change from person to person. I'm going to have different ethical beliefs than you are. You're going to have different ethical beliefs than I do, because it all depends on how you're raised, experiences you've had, background, all those different things. But those are some great topics to throw out. Morals, integrity, doing the right thing. Pretty much sums up ethics in just a couple of words. I like to add a little bit to that and say doing the right thing, or doing the right thing when no one else is looking. Okay, because if you think about it, you have someone standing right over you, right next to you, whether it's a friend, a sibling, a family member, or if it's your boss one of these days in a company you work with, it might be easier to do the right thing when they're watching, or it might be easier to do the wrong thing, depending on what their views on ethics are. Because they're standing right there, they might influence you, they might peer pressure you into doing something that you don't want to do. So it's up to you, what are you going to do when no one else is looking? Are you going to do the right thing? Are you going to do the ethical thing? Or not? So those are some great things to get us started off with. Another textbook definition, if you will, of ethics is a set of moral principles that either an individual or a group agree upon. It's really interesting. I've been studying ethics for a little while now, and individuals have their own ethical beliefs. Society has their own set. A lot of times they all agree with each other. Sometimes they don't. Do you think the U.S. has a different ethical standard than the UK, United Kingdom? Yeah, they probably do on a lot of different issues. All around the world, that's what countries get into problems with, right? Whenever the government or the country's different ethical standards might not agree with the population as a whole, or different countries might disagree with each other. So it just depends on where you're at. Southeast Texas might have different ethical standards than the rest of the U.S., so it just kind of depends. Depends on where you're at. Another definition, a guiding set of moral values. All those different things all go into ethics. Some things that y'all had talked about a second ago: integrity, trust, honesty, fairness. When you think of an ethical person or even an ethical business, work at the Better Business Bureau, right? Our mission is to be the leader in advancing marketplace trust. So we try to help businesses act ethically. We try to help consumers if they have a problem with the business. So hopefully these are some things: responsibility, respect for other people. All those different things go into someone who you might think of as ethical. And it's kind of interesting because I was talking to a group a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about a different story where this one manager in a store had done a really impressive job. Someone had dropped some money, and another customer in the store had picked it up. So one person dropped it, somebody else picks it up, both customers in the store, and the manager approached the person who had picked up the money and said, "Would you please give that back to the gentleman who dropped it?" And they wouldn't. And eventually they ended up getting very frustrated. They started cursing at the manager, and they ended up storming out of the store. And the manager turned around and took money out of it. It was $20, took money out of his own wallet to give to the person who dropped it. Okay? It's going above and beyond what you had to do, what he had to do. I mean, he could have just stopped at, "Hey, I tried to get the person to give it back. They want it. Sorry, you just lost $20. But he actually gave the customer $20 out of his own wallet. So later, his boss came to him and said, "You're a person I would be proud to know. I am proud to know. And if you're very honest, you have a high ethical standard." So that, for him, that was really important because somebody thought he was an ethical person, but also someone was proud to know him. So those are the things that you can think about as far as would you be somebody, do you want to be someone who's other people are proud to know or not? We're going to look at a quiz. We're going to do a quiz together. This brings in the participation part. We're going to do a quiz together, and you can actually look up this website on your own time if you ever kind of want to look at ethics a little bit more. theethicsguy.com. This is a guy who went and got his PhD in philosophy, has studied ethics for a really long time, and he specializes in business ethics. So he talks about different scenarios that come up in business and how to handle them. So we're going to go through this quiz together. Yay! I did not sound excited about that. Just to make me feel better throughout this presentation, you can laugh at my jokes and stuff, and that'll make me feel a lot better. Not really. All right, so we're going to take this quiz together. You wake up one morning with the flu, what would you do? Okay, would you stay home and rest? Stay home and work? Hopefully you can work from home. Go to work, try to avoid socializing with people, or go to work and only socialize with people you don't like. Huh? You want to do that one? No judgment here. Whatever we decide to do, you can raise your hand. Who wants to do A? Stay home and rest. All right. Looks like a good majority. Anyone want B? Stay at home and work? A couple people. Okay. Who wants to go to work but avoid socializing with anybody? Nobody wants that one. Okay. Who wants to go and try to get other people sick? One person, two people. Okay. So now I know to stay away from you guys if I'm ever working in an office with you. All right. So I think stay at home and rest was the most popular. Stay home and work, that could be a good solution. We're going to go through this quiz, and at the end we'll take a look at some of the answers that they give us. Okay? All right. You're having breakfast, business situation, right? You're having breakfast out in public. You overhear two other colleagues who are also there discussing confidential information about a client, and they mention the client by name. Okay? Would you mind your own business? Talk with your colleagues about it. Tell them, hey, maybe we don't need to do that out in public. Then leave it at that. Would you report your colleagues to your supervisor? Or secretly record them with your cell phone?
YouTube.
And then YouTube it. Okay? Who wants A? Mind your own business. a couple of people? Talk to your colleagues? Who wants to do that? Okay. Report your colleagues to your supervisor. Got one person, all right. And then secretly record them with your cell phone and then post it to YouTube. Oh, we got a hand going up. A couple hands going up for that one. Okay. Could be on the world's funniest home videos. All right, I think it was talk with your colleagues. That was the most popular one, so we'll go with that one. All right. Next one. Imagine you have a 12-year-old son. You want to go to the movies, see a great new blockbuster, right? Notice that the sign, okay, 12-year-old son, but the sign says children up to 11, $6, adults, $11.50. Okay? You want to ask for one adult ticket and one child's ticket? Ask for 2 adult tickets. Already got some people going, okay? Give your son $6 and ask him for, or have him ask for the ticket. Or buy, this is interesting, buy 2 adult tickets, watch the film, and then sneak into another movie. I'm not going to ask who's done that before. We won't go there, okay? Who wants to ask for 1 adult and 1 child ticket? Okay? Oh, wait. Put your hands back up. Just kind of. All right. Ask for 2 adult tickets. Oh, gosh, it's going to be difficult. We might have to actually count. That was pretty even. All right. Give your son $6 and have him ask for the ticket. Okay, nobody wants that one. Buy 2 adult tickets, watch the movie, and then go into another one. No one's going to admit to that. Okay. Gosh, I don't know, Jacob, I think you're going to have to help me out. Who wanted A? Because it was pretty... Raise your hand up real high if you want A. Oh gosh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And B? I think that was 28. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, that was close. 21 and 28, I think. So, 1 adult ticket and 1 child ticket. All right. You're having a romantic dinner. Order an expensive bottle of wine. When the check arrives, you notice the wine is not on the bill. Okay? Oh. Expensive bottle of wine. Everyone's like, oh, yes, I can go out to dinner tomorrow. Okay? Order another one? Another option. Okay? Some people are thinking, no, get out of there as soon as you can so they don't catch the mistake, right? Okay? Tell the waiter about the oversight. Keep it to yourself and leave a larger tip.
There you go.
Keep it to yourself, leave your regular tip, what you're planning to do, or give some of the money that you saved to a charity that you like. All right. Who wants A? Tell the waiter about the oversight. Oh, wow, that's more expected. All right. Who wants B? Keep it. All right. Maybe leave a larger tip. Be nice to the waiter. Keep it to yourself and leave a regular tip. Okay. And then use some of the money that you saved to give it to a charity. Nobody wanted that one. Okay. I'm impressed, you guys. I think that was more for telling the waiter. All right. While you're driving to lunch, your friend whips out her smartphone and starts checking her email as she's the one driving. Okay? What would you do? Ask her to stop doing that? Ignore it? Tell her to pull over and let you out? Get me out of this car. Or grab her phone and toss it out the window. Okay? Who wants ask her to stop doing that? All right? Who wants ignore it? Oh, okay. Maybe you can't tell them any differently than what you would do. Okay, tell her to pull over and let you out. Okay, no one's going to just get out of the car. Okay, grab her phone and toss it out the window. Oh! We do have some people that want to do that one. Okay, 3. All right. Well, ask her to stop doing that was 1. And I think, yeah. So I'd be a little scared driving with y'all, but I don't text, or I try not to text when I'm driving. Hopefully she won't make you pay for the phone. I don't know about that. All right, let's see how y'all did. Out of the whole group, 95 out of 100. That's pretty good, y'all. All right. We'll go through a couple of these pretty quick. Woke up in the morning with the flu. Obviously, staying home and rest. I know it might be tempting nowadays. We have such great technology. We can work from home. If your boss lets you do that. A lot of times that's a really popular answer is to work from home. But flu, that can be pretty serious if it actually is the flu. So rest, recuperation, not getting stressed out more by something with work-related issues. Hopefully you work in an office where somebody else can handle it. Usually stay home and rest is the best answer. Now, for some of y'all who want to go socialize with people you don't like, I'm not going to even address that today. Okay, not good. All right, 2 colleagues. This one I thought was interesting when I first saw it because some people would say go tell a supervisor. A lot of people would say ignore it. It's not my problem. Typically, what the ethics guy says to do is to talk to your colleagues about it because sometimes it's just simply we don't think about it. We get engrossed in a conversation. We don't realize, hey, this is a public place. We're talking about confidential information that doesn't need to happen. But sometimes everyone slips up, right? So it might not be something to go to the supervisor with unless it becomes a bigger deal, unless it recurs quite often. But sometimes just telling your colleagues is enough to let things work itself out, basically. So we've all kind of had a slip up or not, but it is serious enough to actually say something. They say, when you really have a problem is when good people refuse to do anything. That's when you really have issues. So, it is important to stand up and say something. All right. This one is kind of interesting. 12-year-old son, technically the sign is children are up to 11 years old. So therefore, the 12-year-old son is considered an adult, right? According to the business. One thing that's interesting when you're dealing with business ethics is it's just as important, when you're talking about business, it's just as important as how the consumer acts. We deal with a lot of complaints at Better Business Bureau, and we have just as many consumers come in and tell us interesting stories as we do businesses. So we're not an advocate for either side. We try to help both businesses and consumers because sometimes a business comes to us and says, hey, look, you might have this consumer calling you because they were really upset, they didn't like the work we did, the service we provided, or the product that they bought. We tried to do everything we could to make them happy, and they couldn't be pleased. So sometimes it's just as important to be ethical on the receiving end as a consumer as it is to be a good business too. All right. Tell your waiter about the oversight with a bottle of wine. Obviously, a lot of people would say that goes over to theft. If you don't, would you walk into, we'll watch a video in a second, and he had a really good point. He said, would you walk into a liquor store and leave with a bottle of wine you didn't pay for? That would be considered theft. So he looks at it a similar way if you're out at a restaurant. So I know it's challenging, it's tempting, but best thing to do would be to pay for it. And then texting while driving or emailing while driving, obviously that can be a major risk. If you're in an accident, ask her to stop doing that. If you're in the car with a friend, which sometimes, a lot of people, it's interesting whenever you start talking about things, bringing things up to their colleagues or friends. Well, I don't want to do that because what if they aren't friends with me anymore? What if I do that to a colleague and that gets and makes issues at the workplace? Well, hopefully you can be a positive influence on people because again, the moment you have problems is when people stop doing anything. So we'll take a real quick look at this video. Again, it's the ethics guy. And he reiterates some of the questions we'll.
Have you ever gone to a restaurant, gotten bad service and lots of attitude from the waiter or waitress, and then realized that he or she forgot to charge you for that expensive bottle of wine? Well, what would you do? It's an ethical question, and depending upon your answer, you may or may not be an ethical person. At least that's what the author of Life Principles, Feeling Good by Doing Good says. He's Dr. Bruce Weinstein, and he's here with us this morning. He's a professional ethicist who can explain why all of us benefit professionally and personally when we live according to ethical principles. There you are. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning,
Nice to see
David.
you. First of all, just tell us briefly how one becomes an ethicist, as it were.
In my case, I received a PhD in philosophy from Georgetown University. Some people have training in theology, but in my case, it was in philosophy.
Okay, all right. How much importance should we place in our everyday lives on this? You say it could start with small situations, and that's important. Or small.
Well, ethics is everything because it reveals the kind of person who we are, it reveals the kind of character that we have. So the sorts of decisions that we make under pressure reveal the sort of person we truly, really are.
All right. Let's start with some scenarios, and this may help paint the picture for people. For example, you see someone, you're in a store, you see someone take an item from a store and tuck it away. Shoplifting, essentially. Would you A, confront the person, B, ignore the situation, or C, contact the manager? What should you do?
Well, you know, the problem with doing nothing, even though a lot of people would do that, is, as Edmund Burke would say, all that is necessary for evil to flourish is for good people to do nothing.
Right.
If we confront them, we might get shot, and the problem could continue, right?
Yeah.
You know,
That's
we do have an
example.
ethical obligation not to get shot.
Right.
So letting the manager know about what you saw, as unpleasant as that might be, is probably ethically the best thing to do. And I'll explain why in a moment.
All right, okay. Second scenario, you're signing up for an internet dating service. The best photo of yourself is perhaps from 4 years ago. And you've changed a little bit, not much. So would you A, use the photo, B, use the photo to explain how you changed, or C, wait to submit a recent photo?
You may not think you've changed that much, but other people looking at you probably will. And if you lie about your photo, what else will you lie about? And also, when you show up, the game will be given away, so why not start the relationship by being honest? And in the long run, everybody will benefit, including you.
All right, so some of my ethical stature is diminished if I don't be forthcoming, is what you're saying.
Hey, well, exactly.
All right.
And then also, people are going to find out when they show up
Well, that's
at the
for
blind
sure,
date.
yeah.
So who are you going to get?
Yeah. All right, your friend just purchased a new dress, and she asks you whether you think it's horrible or whether you like it. And you don't want to hurt her feelings, but you think it's horrible. So what do you do? A, do you tell the truth? B, do you find something you like about the dress, like rayon is easy to care for? Or C, use language that's accurate but deceptive. Well, I've never seen anything quite like it. I'll tell you what, now maybe I should say this, but I'll tell you what, if it's my wife, I'm lying like a champ. Now, that's beautiful, honey.
So this is, in other words, you want to remain married for a long time.
Yes, exactly.
But the problem is if the person has already bought the dress, does she really want to know what you think, or does she want what Oprah might call validation?
Right.
If she's already bought the dress, she probably doesn't want to know the whole truth.
Yeah.
She wants to feel good about her purchase. That, however, does not give us the license to tell her a lie, because when we lie, what does that do to our credibility in the long run, our integrity? The way to do this is to honor the principles of do no harm and telling the truth. And the way to do that is to find something about the dress that you do like.
Okay.
For example, I love you in bright, shiny colors.
Okay.
I love Jackson Pollock paintings, and you look like, a Jackson Pollock painting with swirls of orange and red.
All right.
Something like that.
But isn't that splitting hairs? Can't you either you're truthful or not?
No, it's not true. No. There are degrees of it, because if you say, well, actually, I don't like it. I think it's horrible, and it gives me goosebumps in the worst possible way. She doesn't want to know what you really think, and you're hurting her feelings. How could that possibly be right?
All right, I want to get to the initial one we mentioned before we run out of time, and that is that you're at a fancy restaurant, you're celebrating your anniversary, and the waiter was rude, you didn't like the service, but you realized that the price of the wine was left off the check. So, A, do you pay the bill, not tell the waiter, and leave a bigger tip, or do you pay the bill as it is, or do you tell the waiter about the error?
Let me ask you, if you walk into a liquor store, would you leave with a bottle of wine without paying for it?
No, absolutely not.
Well, that's what you would essentially be doing by not paying for the bottle of wine. It might come out of the waiter's pocket, it will come out of the restaurant's pocket. How is that fair? The punishment has to fit the crime, and bad service should not be punished by docking the person essentially of their salary, because waiters make their living on tips.
Okay, all right, great. Finally, this all fits into what you call your 5 principles of ethics, and let's go over them real quickly.
First, do no harm. The most fundamental principle of all doesn't apply just to doctors, it applies to everyone. Without do no harm, there's no possibility of a society or civilized culture.
All right. Make things better.
Make things better. This is where ethics splits off from the law, because the law, as well as ethics, requires us not to harm people, but ethics asks us to go a bit further and actually enrich the lives of others to bring out the best in other people as well as ourselves.
All right. Respect others.
Respect others. We show respect for others by telling them the truth, by keeping their confidences, and by being loyal or keeping our promises.
All right. And combine the final 2 for me. Be fair and be loving.
Be fair and be loving. Like John Lennon said in 1967, all you need is love. Maybe that's not all you need, but life without love is an empty life indeed. So love, kindness, compassion, caring, those are all captured by this last principle of be loving, be kind.
All right. And on this weekend when we're thinking of John Lennon, that's a great way to end it. Thank you, Dr. Bruce Weinstein.
Thanks, Dave.
All right. Pat, I'll send it over to you because you're the picture of ethics in my mind.
I wrote the book. Absolutely. Thank you. That was good advice and absolutely true.
Okay. All right. We're not going to get into whole degrees of truthfulness. I don't really agree with some of the things that he talks about all the time whenever it comes to degrees of lying and everything, like with the dress scenario. That can be up to your personal choices or whatever. But some of the things he brought up was really very true. Do no harm, make things better. With ethics, whenever you talk about ethical situations, a lot of times people say, well, if it's legal, does that mean it's ethical? Not always. Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's necessarily the right thing to do. So trying to make things better, respecting other people, be compassionate, be fair. Like he was talking with the wine scenario, a lot of people say, oh, great, a bottle of wine that's free, I can go out to dinner again, I don't have to pay for it. But like he said, would you walk out of the liquor store with a bottle of wine you didn't pay for? All right? Is that fair to the waiter? And then a lot of times people say, well, they deserve it, they were a terrible waiter, they're the ones who left it off, I didn't ask them to leave it off, they left it off. Well, put yourself in their shoes. What would you want somebody else to do for you, right? All those different things. Got a question for you before we go on to anything else. Does your personal, or do you think your personal ethical choices affect your business ethical standard?
Yeah.
Yes, right? Everything you do in life, what you're used to doing on a personal level all the time, that can definitely affect your business decisions. And even relationships you've had, different ways you've handled situations, a lot of times that carries over into the business realm, how you would handle professional relationships, disagreements with other people, choices you make in the business world also go into personal situations. So be conscious of that. Because a lot of times people think, okay, well, now that I'm at work, I'm going to make different decisions, I'm going to be nicer, meaner, whatever, and it all runs together, it all comes back around. All right? So now we're going to go to another section, and this is where I said again, going into discussion topics. What we're going to do now is look at an ethical dilemma that deals with a business situation. And this one is a remodel company, a new remodel construction company with two partners. They own it together, and they're presented with a difficult client to work with. Anyone in here working and have a job right now, currently? Yeah? Okay, a lot of y'all, okay? I'm sure you never had to deal with a difficult client in your life. Everyone's always nice and loving and caring when they come in. They just love to work with you, and you love to work with everyone, right? No. You can hear a pin drop with that one. No, not everybody who comes into a store, or if you're working with client services or something, not everyone's always excited to come in and has a problem. That's what this gentleman, Jason, is the main character in the story. He has a difficult client he's working with, so we'll see how he handles it, and then we'll take a break and we'll discuss what he should do, and it goes on from there. So we'll get started.
I can definitely tell that a lot of extra time and effort was put into your home. Now this is impressive. Well, I won't settle for cheap. I get the best for what I spend. Our company's goal is always to get our customer the best quality for the best value. All right. Looks like we're going to be adding on a 15 by 18 room with one entrance door, French doors to the garden, skylight to match this room, tile floors, and 6 floor ceiling windows. Looks like I have all the information I need. Let me meet with my partner and we'll work up the estimate.
Well, I want you to know I have 2 other firms that are bidding on this job. So I don't think you can charge me just any price.
Well, we couldn't stay in business unless we compete. And we won't compromise on quality either. Don't worry, I think you'll be very happy with our proposal and our design.
And if I'm not, you won't get the job.
Hey.
Hi. Are you coming home tonight?
Oh, yeah. What time is it? I'm sorry. We're just working on this proposal for this really tough client.
We're supposed to look at the drapes for the nursery tonight, remember?
Oh. Sorry, sweets. Look, can we do it later? I've got to get this proposal worked out.
Well, just remember, we can't tell the baby to come any later. I don't want to be paying between feedings and diaper changes.
I know. But if I don't get this proposal locked down, we're not going to be able to afford diapers.
I love you, Mommy. I love you too. I'm talking to Dad on the phone.
I'm sorry, babes. You know I want what's best for you and our family. Look, I'll be home as soon as I can, okay?
How the meeting at Willow Hampshire Estates go?
Tough sell, man. I mean, just because he has money doesn't mean he wants to spend it.
Yeah, that's why they have money. But if we can get one good job in that neighborhood, we could really start lining up the contracts. I mean, that's what, 97 lots in Willow Hampshire?
I just need to figure out how they can do the job and make a profit. These margins are really tight, man. We're up against some of the big guns in town, too.
Yeah. And I'm sure our friend Zach is probably snooping around, too. Look, quit your crying. You're just after money for your baby's room. Just start pushing our suppliers for better deals. If we can get this job, we'll be in the perfect position to get more jobs in Willow Hampshire. And then we'll all get it.
Oh, yeah, thanks. There's no pressure there. I really had to search to find materials that match what you have here, but I think we found them, and we can match your interior designs, and I've got the cost down, so once you sign, we can get started.
Now, this is a good beginning price, but you're going to have to do better.
With all due respect, I had to almost threaten my suppliers to get the price that low. The timeline's short. I had to call Europe for the terracotta.
Wait a minute. What do you mean? Almost had to threaten them? That means they gained something, and they're still making a comfortable profit. Kick them in the ass. Do better, or you're out of the running for the job. I'll give you 2 days to get back to me with your final offer. Clear?
Yes, sir. I'll do what I can. Well, it wasn't easy, but we trimmed everything as close to the bone as I could.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't think we're going to be able to do business. This estimate is still way too high.
We went over all the costs of the fine-tooth comb. To give you what you want and make sure it's installed to the standards you expect, I can't do it for less. You said you don't compromise on quality. I won't either. I will protect our company's name.
With estimates like this, you're going to have out of business at the end of your
I can't stay in business doing jobs at a loss.
Look, I've owned businesses and I've sold businesses. Many of them. And a lot of times you have to take a loss at first just to get more jobs. And if you can't understand that, you're not going to make it.
Fine, I'll come up with something.
Well, you better make it fast because your competitor is coming over in the morning.
All right, competitors are coming over in the morning. That doesn't sound like a threat at all. Okay, what's all going on here? Who's all going to be affected? What do you think you should do? It's part of the participation part we're talking about. Who's all affected?
He should stand his ground
Stand
because
his ground?
he can't. Well, I mean, there's two sides to every coin, you know. And if he is newly and trying to establish himself, maybe he could. It is commonplace to maybe take a loss at first, for you know. But you have to realize that those contracts will come. Otherwise, you can't cut your quality or your integrity. You have to stand your ground and wait for somebody to pay a fair price. And I think that's really the proper thing to do. Is just, hey, if you know you're offering a valuable service at a fair price, then there's no reason why you should compromise that. And I think in the long run, that's going to be where you come, in the long term.
Two very good points. Quality, right? Don't want to compromise quality. Is that one thing that Jason, the main guy, he was saying in the very beginning, we don't compromise on? All right, I don't compromise on quality. We try to get the best quality for the lowest price for our customers. That's a very good point, quality. Somebody can't, quality usually, costs a little bit more than just average. So if somebody can't afford the high quality, maybe they need to rethink about what they want, okay? And then I like that you point out the longevity, right? Long term. What's long term going to be beneficial for you in the business? Okay, you want to cut corners now? It might be easier to do right now, or it might be harder, but long term, what's the best thing to do? Okay, very good points. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I understand one thing about business. I've been hustling enough, trying to do just that, trying to get something done for at a low budget, and the quality of work wasn't there, you know. And as I learned in marketing, you know, bad news travels faster than good news. So I mean, like the man was saying up front, if you don't stand your ground with your quality of work, you know, and he may just have to miss out on his job, because if he gets himself in a foothold with just delivering a lesser product, then his business is going to drown anyway.
Yeah, very good point. Who else is going to find out? Yes, sir.
Well, I would say that the quality term is very relative, and this guy, the salesman, should try to qualify the quality, and whatever he's going to offer, whatever his definitions are for quality, what he's going to offer to the client, that should be clearly made, that point should be clearly made across. So in this presentation, I don't see that he made the right approach towards, making it clear that what are my definitions of quality. So.
Right. Maybe they have two different opinions of what is quality materials for a home.
It's a very relative term.
Mm-hmm. And those are some good points, because exactly right. Bad news travels fast, right? If someone finds out, hey, what if that guy has friends? They're trying to get in that neighborhood. His partner came up and said, hey, there's 97 more lots, so if we can get into one, maybe we can do more work in that neighborhood. So if he comes in and does really high quality for a really low price, if any of those neighbors come in,
You're going to expect the same thing.
yeah, they're going to expect that, oh, wow, how much did you pay for that remodel? What? You got for that cheap? Awesome. I'm going to call the same person. So then when they start going over contracts, well, you only charged my neighbor half that. So that's a very good point, because that'll get out, word will be spread. Now, would it be better to start off with good reputation? Maybe, hey, maybe it is going to cost you more money, but is the quality there? People probably will tend to pay for the quality they want. But that's a good point, too, about different levels of quality. Everyone has different definitions. What's a good home? What's something that might not be worth as much? So qualifying that, knowing exactly you're on the same page with your client. Now, is this what you're expecting? Maybe it's something that they could negotiate a little bit. Maybe the client does want some kind of different material that won't cost as much, might be more cost effective. So they can negotiate that down. Those are some great points. We have a list of choices we can take from 3 different ones that we'll talk a little bit about. And I think y'all were kind of pointing out with B, stick to the final bid, or see if you can talk to them a little bit, talk to the client, see if you can work something else out. A is an interesting one whenever I come and talk to business people, because whenever it says spread the cost of these materials to other remodel projects, some people jump on that and think, oh, well, yeah. You spread the cost of you spread the cost out to everybody a lot of times. Well, that's a little bit different when you're talking about a remodel company. So actually, whenever I started teaching this, when I talked to a friend of mine who's in construction, I said, explain to me what you think this means. And for their definition, they were saying, well, that could be spread the cost of these materials to other remodel projects, as in, if I'm working with you on a home, you want remodeled, you want new doors, so you want French doors or something like that. Do you mind if I pick on you a little bit? Sorry. I just picked you up. And I'm working with you on a home too. You want your house remodeled. But you don't want to pay for anything. So I'm going to take some of your doors and make her pay for them. She's not going to notice. Okay? She might not look over the contract. Maybe we change it up. So she'll pay for his doors, get his cost down so he'll accept the contract. Are you going to like that? No, right? Is that legal? No. Okay. Is that ethical? No. That's one of those instances where it's illegal and it's unethical, right? So that's what spreading the cost of these materials to other projects is. Not a good idea. Okay? Or, like y'all pointed out, substitute lower quality materials and labor. Quality was talked about a lot. So if they have a standard for quality, especially in reconstruction, construction type businesses, they have to worry about how other people are going to see them. They want high quality. They might be able to charge a little bit more for that quality. They want to maintain that. Once they start substituting for lower quality materials and labor, their reputation could go down. Bad news spreads fast, right? So okay, everyone could go stick to final bid. It seems like 3 people at least sound like they would want that one. Okay. Now, what's going to happen if we do stick to the final bid? One of 2 things could happen. Accept it or not, right? Sometimes this is interesting because this is always interesting for me because whenever we play the choices, it's random. So even I don't know what, I've seen most of them, but sometimes the computer does something different. So I'm always like, okay, which one is it going to play today? Typically it's accept or you won't accept. Okay? What do you think they're going to do if he doesn't accept the offer? New company, new business, trying to get in a new neighborhood? Huh?
Just change the neighborhood.
Change the neighborhood, try again. All right? Just keep knocking on doors, trying to make more bids. Exactly. If he accepts it, then great. Sometimes your hardest clients to work with at the very beginning turn out to be your best admirers. Because they're hard to work with, and typically other people know that too. So they're happy. That could be a great selling point. So we'll see what happens. Uh-oh. Sometimes if I talk too long, the computer thinks I'm wrong.
You played that one out well, Jason. I've done a lot of negotiating in my day, and I was pushing you to the wall, and you stuck with your ethics. You're going to do very well in your business. When can you start?
I booked my Christmas card Monday.
That's sure you were going to get the job, huh?
No, I just don't like to keep my customers waiting.
So in that situation, he took it. I think it's an interesting switch, because all of a sudden he seems like a nice guy. In the very beginning, he didn't seem like somebody I'd want to work with, probably. But sometimes people are just trying to get a lower cost, right? They have a budget they're trying to work with. They're just going to try to beat you down as far as you will go. So sometimes it does take that, that person to stand up and say, look, love to do business with you, but that's as low as we can go. That's, if you want our services, this is what it's going to cost. So sometimes it takes that. Let's go back and see, because if you notice there was a B option, we'll see what happens with this one. Because usually it shows they don't take it, what the partner's reaction is going to be. Because we didn't really talk about that so far, but what's going on in Jason's personal life? Everything. New baby on the way, he's already got 2 kids, wife, so he's having to worry about providing for his family. If you have personal stresses or things going on in your personal life, is that going to affect what you do in business? It can, right? It can definitely affect what you do in business. It might make it more tempting to cut corners, try to get a job, try to work with somebody you might not need to work with, or do a job for something that, much less, just to get some work. But in the long run, talking about longevity, right, it's not worth it. It's not going to be good in the long term. But then you have to also worry about the partner. Hey, do you think the partner trusts him? That's a tricky one, because everyone's always kind of like, well, how do I know if the partner trusts him? I don't know. I would say he does, because has he asked to look over anything yet? No. Came up, asked him how it was going, what's going on, but he doesn't ever say, well, hey, let me see what you're doing. Let me see what you're going to present to the client. Let me see the contract you've put together. Never has to see any of that. So I would say, yeah, he does trust him, because he's not looking over his shoulder at all. He's saying, hey, you know what you're doing, you know your job, so should just go along with it. So it's always interesting to play it if the client doesn't take the offer, to see how the partner is going to react. We'll see.
If this is your best, it's not good enough. Unless you lower the prices, you're walking out of here all right with nothing.
That's my best offer, and it stands as written. Now, if you change your mind, I'll honor the asking. But I can't lower the price anymore without sacrificing the quality.
And you can't pay bills with principles, son.
Well, I have found that honesty gets me more jobs. That's just how we do business. Thank you for your time.
Dude! Either we didn't get the job, or you turned into a really good actor.
Couldn't get the price down to a place where you accept without doing a shady deal, man. Sorry.
Hey, if we're lucky, this time with Zach's company, they'll have to deal with it. So, I mean, it's 96 more possible customers in that neighborhood. Look ahead, my friend. Look ahead.
Yeah. This guy and Zach deserve each other.
How was partner's reaction?
Pretty positive.
Very positive, right? Very optimistic. There's 96 other lots in that neighborhood. We can just go get another one, right? Pretty positive. At that point, has he asked to look over anything? No.
Trust.
Totally trust him. Do you want to be able to trust people you do business with? Yes, right? Hopefully, if y'all ever start a business, I pray that you trust your partner. Okay? If you can't trust your partner when you go into business, that's a big red flag. Okay? So yeah, he trusts him. He hasn't even asked, at that point, he hasn't even asked to look over anything. Well, what'd you do? What'd you present to him? Let's look at it, maybe we can do it at a different angle. And then he even tells the client, Jason tells the client, you know, if you change your mind later, I'd be happy to do business with you, but that's our final bid. That's sometimes what you have to do, right? Maybe he'll go, maybe he's unrealistic. Maybe he'll go get other bids from other companies and he'll find that they're very similar to yours. So then they might say, oh, well, you know what? That was the cheapest for the quality that I want. That was the best deal. So maybe he'll come back. One thing I liked in this one, the client said, well, you can't pay bills with principals. I actually did this presentation for a business, and one of the managers, one of the supervisors there, he was raising his hand after I showed this part. He was, wait, I got something to say. And I was like, what? And he said, I totally disagree with that statement. I totally disagree. You can pay bills with principals. Not directly, obviously, but he made some really good points. Their business, they had very, very strong and ethical business practices, held tightly to their integrity, to their honesty with their clients, and he said you can pay bills with principles. You can pay bills with your ethics, because it's all about the long term, right? Once you get a good reputation started, that's going to spread. You're going to be able to use that in marketing materials. Look at all these people who like us, all these great reviews. You might have some people who don't like you still, but in a long-term aspect, you can pay bills with principles because you build that reputation. It's going to be harder for a business that's 5 years old because no one knows you. But for a business who's 50 years old, if you look at any businesses here in Southeast Texas, look at their marketing materials that are 50 years old or more. A lot of times things like honesty, integrity, trust, respect, they use those. They talk about those. They keep reiterating that to new customers. You can come to us because you can trust us. We've been in business for 50 years, right? We have a lot of ethics. We have integrity. Our customers like us. So that becomes a bigger deal the longer you're in business. I think it's always a big deal, but they end up using it more because you have that reputation established. We'll go back now. I like playing some of the other options just to let people see. This is just one example of what can happen, right? We don't, obviously, you couldn't go through every possible scenario because that would just take days. I don't even know if you could cover every possible scenario. But we'll go back and look. Spreading the cost of other projects, or these costs of other projects, we'll see what could happen. Some people, like I said, we talk about ethics to middle schools, high schools, businesses. And it's interesting to see what some people think is ethical, what they think you can get away with. Obviously, we have different conversations with high schoolers, but I've had some people say, well, it's not ethical if no one finds out about it, right? Is that true? Not true, right? Hopefully, Lamar University. I graduated from Lamar University. I know y'all are good students, so that's not true. It's ethical or not, what would you do when no one else is looking?
Maybe. and spread our costs out on the other proposals. Yeah, this makes another window in on the Johnsons' remodeling job. And on the Magruder job. Decide the cost of materials on the other jobs. And no profits. That'd be dishonest. Get them to sign off, and everybody donates a little to the cause. If prices are going up, they'll never notice.
Dude! You're working too hard.
I didn't hear you then. Come in.
Relax. It's just your partner. So, how's the proposal coming?
Rough. Starting to get carpal tunnel syndrome from crunching these numbers.
Just remember, 2 plus 2 equals 4, plus profit.
So, hey, I was looking at this color specifically. I was wondering, yeah, can we get this?
I'm sorry, but these materials are not up to code. I can't approve this.
So I was talking with one of the guys down at your office, Mr. Franklin, and he said everything would be fine.
Jason, we're being fined for violations in the Willow Hampshire job. Do you know anything about this?
Well, I mean, a couple things were questioned, but nothing I thought was out of the ordinary.
Jason, a couple things? What were you doing out there?
Well, look, you know these inspectors. They're looking for any little thing they can. They need to make their money for the month in fines.
What do you think of that one? Is that going to be good for the business? No, right? Fines coming in, now it's going to cost them even more money in the long run, okay? That one's kind of interesting to me because, again, the partner didn't ask to look over anything. Is that going to disrupt their relationship now?
Okay.
Yeah, right? First time, hey, we've been doing business for a while, never had any problems, and now suddenly there's a big issue, okay, with the inspectors and everything. Does anyone, I didn't ask anyone beforehand, is anyone working in construction right now, by chance? A couple people? Okay. Oh, all 3 of you guys. Wow, okay. Y'all have inspectors come out to jobs? Yeah? Now, don't admit to anything. I'll just ask this in a general way. Do you think some inspectors would take a bribe? Yeah, unfortunately. You think some people would offer it? Yeah? Theoretically, right? Some people would offer it. Unfortunately, that happens. You hear about scandals, you hear about issues, you hear about companies that do that sort of thing. Is that good in the long run? Definitely not, right? Things like that usually come out somewhere. And then that just totally ruins the reputation of the company at that point. So I had my construction friend, we actually went over this one together, and he was like, oh yeah, he was like, that happens. No one ever is going to admit it, but that happens, right? So it's interesting. Not only in construction, other jobs you always hear about interesting things going on with inspectors, bribes, all those sorts of things. It's always kind of interesting to hear about. All right. Now we're going to go back and look at the other option of substituting lower quality materials and labor and see what happens in that scenario.
Hey, I'll talk to you later, all right? Zach, how's it going?
Jason, is Mr. Fix-It here to get hammered? Where's your partner?
Oh, he's back at the office finishing up some paperwork.
So, how's business? How's the biz?
Oh, good. Yeah, I got a big proposal up in Willow, Hampshire.
Big time, big money, huh?
Yeah, if I can close the deal. This guy's really beating me up on price. Now, I know if I can cut the overhead, I can get this deal closed, but I know you used to have some people that would work cheap for cash.
Maybe I could hook you up. Does Matt know about this?
No, Matt's on a need-to-know basis. He trusts me, but he doesn't need to know everything.
Gotcha. Yeah, I know a few people, but I'm gonna need a little cash up front.
Yeah.
You're going to need some supplies, possibly plywoods, maybe some hardware.
Yeah, maybe. You got a supplier?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I know we're going to have a lot of
Well, this is better, but I still think you're gouging me. And I expect this job to be done right and on time.
We'll do the best we can.
You're damn right you will, or I'll stop payment.
Hey! Well, did you get the contract?
I signed him.
So, no cartwheels, no balloons.
Quick question for you. Whenever you're making ethical decisions in your life, is it always as straightforward and simple as you just have to make one decision and that's it? No. Right? Always other things come up. You either have to justify it later on or keep going down, a line of stories. So Jason's faced with, does he tell his partner or not? Okay, he's already gone to Zach, the other company, paid some cash up front for materials, some labor, some people come work. So they've already paid that, already made that deal, already has the client now, and the client's back to being hard to work with. Okay? So what should Jason do? Should he tell his partner or not?
He should.
Should? Hey, raise your hand if you think he should.
He shouldn't have never made the shady deal. He should have never done.
At that point, maybe he should have gone to his partner and said, hey man, when you think about this, what am I missing? What am I doing wrong? Is there any way we can get around it? Can we scrape any other costs off somehow? Right? That's why you're in business with a partner, right? Have somebody else to go to. Get questions. Okay, tell his partner. Anyone not want to tell the partner? Now, peer pressure, right? Everyone's like, no, I'm going to tell the partner. Okay. You would want to tell the partner, obviously, full disclosure. If the partner's going to be able to help in any way, is it better to tell him sooner or later? Sooner, right?
He should have told him before he made the deal.
Should have told him before he made the deal. Yep.
So, no cartwheels, no balloons.
Matt, I've never had to work this hard to make such little profit. I had to cut costs, cut corners, cut everything but my wrist to get this job signed.
Let me see the contract. How are you getting these labor costs so low?
Zach phoned me a couple of
Zach? You went to Zach without talking to me?
Well, I know how much getting this job means to you, so I thought I had to...
This company plays by the rules. Zach ignores the rules. You and I are this company. Zach is no longer with this company. You already knew that. All right. Let's see how we can do this without losing our shirts and this company.
Man, I'm sorry. I didn't know what else to do. I had to get these costs down.
Alright. So ends up going to the partner. We don't find out what happens in the very end, grand scheme of things. I assume they're able to work it out. He gets his partner involved now. Is it going to cost the company more in the long run?
Absolutely.
Probably, right? Anything that's not up to code or anything that they don't think of as high enough quality for their company, they're going to have to go back and repurchase, right? They're going to have to go end up spending more money since now they've put out cash with Zach getting some stuff up front. So all those different things. But hey, y'all stick to the final bid on the first go. That's great. You have high hopes. You made 95 out of 100 on your ethics quiz. Yay! Everyone's like, what? All right. Thank y'all so much for your time today. We have a lot of interesting things happen at Better Business Bureau on a daily basis because that's it, Dan, we're not done yet. Come on, man. We have a lot of things happen on a daily basis. Complaints come in. It's really interesting seeing how people handle ethical dilemmas or situations. If you ever have any questions, feel free to contact us. BBB.org. It'll get you to Southeast Texas. And then we're all over social media. So thank you for your time. Now you can go. Have a great day.